Hello there. The Tories are promising to look after tenants, all fronted by Michael Gove no less. But will Tory rich landlord donors agree? Interesting. The Tory government is looking to overhaul the private rented sector in favour of tenants. Very strange for a party that will be full of landlords who will be very keen to keep their very advantageous business position left undisturbed. You'd think there was a Tory-held Red Wall by-election coming up. But one of Michael Gove's ministers, Eddie Hughes, announced today that tenants will soon be able to protect themselves from living in unfit homes. That Section 21 no-fault evictions will be banned, so the landlord will not be able to give notice at the drop of a hat. That landlords will also no longer be able to turn away those on benefits, and that the new rules will ensure landlords are more pet-friendly. We will end arbitrary rent review clauses, give tenants stronger powers to challenge poor practice, unjustified rent increases, and enable them to be repaid rent for non-decent homes, says the government. But bear in mind he was announcing a white paper with the legislation to come some time down the road. Levelling up the private rented sector is long overdue, but I worry when a Conservative government does it and heralds it as empowering tenants. Since when have Tory landlords favoured tenants? Now all this sounds a bit costlier for landlords, so will the tenants be protected from having the costs passed on to them, or will we see a ramped increase in rents in the coming months? Now normally I would expect to see Labour pushing for this and the Tories protecting their rich landlords by delaying and obfuscating. But what the Tories are doing looks like making renting a home more attractive, especially to the poorer, and turning being landlord into a less attractive option for the greedier types. Doesn't sound very Tory to me. So what's the real reason? Who is going to benefit out of all of this as smaller landlords offload their properties due to the added costs and more stringent requirements? Will we end up with a few very large landlords operating on a scale of economy basis? And remember, some banks are now gearing up to become landlords. Back in August last year, Lloyds Bank said it was aiming to snap up 50,000 houses in the next decade to become the UK's largest landlord. And the government has also brought forward a social housing bill to reform the regulatory regime to drive significant change in landlord behaviour to focus on the needs of their tenants and ensure landlords are held to account for their performance. I get suspicious when Tories talk like this. I also get suspicious when Eddie Hughes, the Minister for Rough Sleeping and Housing, also said that Michael Gove was all for building more social housing. Tories think money, not fairness. But in his statement today, Eddie Hughes did state the obvious. He said that renting must be about the only way in the UK that someone can be forced to hand over hundreds, if not thousands of pounds every month, but be scared of demanding a good service in return for fear of getting notice to quit. Good point, and an issue that definitely needs addressing. But I get the distinct feeling that all this will drive the market towards 2 or 3 huge landowning companies owned and run by banks, providing housing for all the rental sector. Now that would be a Tory-style policy, and in time that could include all rented homes with no government involvement other than ensuring councils kept an eye on those huge landlords in their areas, ending up with people taking out mortgages with their bank, falling on hard times, then selling their homes to the bank that holds the mortgage, and in return they can stay in their home for a monthly rent. Think about that. Does it sound a bit outlandish? Now think about where this country is going with the cost of living crisis, rising energy costs and rising interest rates. You will work hard, own nothing, and be happy.